Welcome to the BD Radio ISO series. Don't shake your head. All right, so team, welcome back for another episode of BD Radio. Today we're talking all things breakfast.
Yum.
Yes, yum, but also, I guess, a pretty controversial topic in the fitness industry. When I say controversial, not like, massive, but lots of people will argue to the hilt whether it's important or not. And we're just going to break down, I guess, what we know to be true with our clients and what helps them, as well as give you a little bit of the backgrounds on, I guess, what the science says as well. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
How you feeling?
Great.
Good.
Ready to go.
Week 2 of ISO. How you handling it?
Well, I had a nap yesterday, guys, and that does not happen very often in my life.
No, it's fair to say we've both been lacking a little bit of our usual energy, but I think that's pretty consistent across the board. One thing that has made it a lot easier this time is being able to see people, with the PTs and stuff. So that's maintained that, I guess, personal touch, which we really missed last time. So that's been nice.
Agree.
All right, so let's get into breakfast. So, first things first, breakfast, like what people think breakfast is versus what it actually is, are two very different things. So, it's probably been, people's thoughts on it have been pretty much a victim to marketing. So, when you hear breakfast, you think cereal.
Oh.
Or you think, early morning, start your day, most important meal of the day, up and go, smoothies, anything quick. You think quick and convenient with breakfast.
Yep.
Whereas when you think the dinner, you think cooking time.
Sit down meal.
Yes, sit down
Family.
meal, preparing. So it's pretty important, I think, early days to just understand what breakfast actually is. It's breaking the fast.
It's a meal.
Yeah, so it's a meal the same as any other meal. In fact, lots of nutrition coaches and meal plans will not call them meals like breakfast, lunch, the dinner. They'll call it meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. And I think that sort of breaks the stigma of what you think you're supposed to have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that being said, breaking the fast, let's just say this straight away. There's no time cap on it. So, just because it's breakfast and it's your first meal of the day doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it within half an hour of waking up. Whereas I think some people, if they don't eat within the first hour of being awake, it's like, I've skipped breakfast.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't train in the morning. So, if I go to the gym in the morning, I won't eat beforehand. Some people do. Same with everything. Most of this is personal preference. There are a couple of rules that we like to kind of live by with breakfast, but the large majority is as long as you tick those boxes, you can have what you want. Yep. Now I've just done 3.5 minutes of solid talking, Danielle. So
Penny's good at that.
chime in. Why do you think our clients, or not? Why do we recommend breakfast to our clients?
I think it's quite a good habit to get into. So people quite often think by skipping a meal, they've got some extra kind of calories up their sleeve.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
a lot of people find it easy because you're not as hungry in the morning because you haven't broken that fast, to purely skip that meal, and then they save it for
just have a coffee and move on.
And then they save those calories and often make some not ideal decisions later in the day.
Yeah, so here's where we stand on skipping breakfast. For ladies, we don't recommend it. It's just ladies are a lot more volatile hormonally and physically than men, and it's best to do everything as consistently as you can.
Yes.
Just as a general rule. Men can get away with it, but where you can't get away with it is basically allowing yourself to get hungry. So whenever we have a client who's trying to lose weight or improve their food quality, we recommend a good breakfast to start the day. It also puts you in a nice positive frame of mind, feeling like you've already had a win.
Yeah.
So Not eating breakfast, at 8 a.m. is not a problem unless it is. So what we mean by that is that it's not a problem if you don't eat at 8 a.m., but it is a problem if you don't eat at 8 a.m., get hungry at 10, and then smash a muffin at 11. So that's where the issue normally lies.
Yep.
Or you have a normal lunch, you get to 3 p.m., you're absolutely starving because you haven't had enough food throughout the day and you smash a Kit Kat.
Yep.
Whereas if you're consistent with your intake, like, it just generally doesn't happen as much.
Yeah, you're less likely to make those.
If at all. Yeah, you feel like you're sticking to a plan. We know that routine is your friend and it just helps long term.
Yeah. So let's talk breakfast, like why people often say to us, like what are people's excuses for not having breakfast?
Oh, I'm just not hungry in the mornings.
Yep, that's one. Another one, time. I love that.
Yeah, running out of time.
Because no one can use it at the moment. Everyone has time.
The time excuse has been taken away.
It has been taken away.
I think the time excuse, like, you can tell yourself you don't have time for anything, but you can make time. And I think it's just a lack of, I guess, understanding. Like, when people think, oh, I need to cook breakfast, that doesn't mean you need to cook down like a cafe style, mushrooms, tomatoes, this and that. What it does mean though is that just the same for every other meal. Maybe you need to have stuff in the fridge ready to go. Overnight oats, some hard-boiled eggs.
Maybe you can't Uber Eats breakfast.
Yeah, so like, it doesn't have to be as convenient as every other meal, but it may need to be prepped like every other meal. But you just don't often hear of people meal prepping their breakfast.
Yeah, we live in a world, you're right, of convenience.
Yeah.
People want to be able to pick something up at the servo when they get their petrol. Or, they want to be able to just put some toast on or grab a cereal box.
Grab a scroll from Baker's Delight on the way through.
However, all those choices are not ideal.
Yes.
What are some good choices for breakfast?
A good choice for breakfast, the easy one that comes straight to mind is eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs is, firstly, it's easy to prepare. It doesn't take long, and it's just a super healthy food. Great option, high protein, all that good stuff that we love. Hard boiled, fried, scrambled, doesn't matter.
I was about to say, the variety.
Yep.
Of the ways you can do your eggs in the morning, and they all take a few minutes.
Yeah, and breakfast can be quite seasonal as well. So it's colder at the moment, you might like some oats, porridge. You can have it dry, add hot water the next day. Like, it really, all you need to do is just give it 10 minutes of thought the day before.
Yep.
You just need to be made aware. So rather than having a piece of toast just because your kids are, like, you'd be like, all right, I'm going to be on the ball. I'm going to have 20 hard-boiled eggs at the start of the week in the fridge. They keep well. I'm just going to grab out 3 and then stink out the whole house when I cut them open. So...
Well, at the moment, when people are home anyway...
Oh, we're loving the cooked brekkies in the morning.
Yeah, the cooked brekkies are really good. So we have eggs quite a lot in our house.
Eggs and
quite
bacon,
often...
avo.
Yes, we'll have it... all different ways as well. Mia has hers scrambled. Otherwise, she won't eat the yolk.
William doesn't eat eggs.
I quite like hard-boiled eggs myself, whereas Ben prefers a scramble or some fried eggs.
Yeah, I go through phases. I probably ate hard-boiled eggs in the morning for like 6 months. Now I can't look at one. But I'm a little bit like that though, so I probably need to be a little bit more balanced with my choices. But... yeah, I will go hard in the paint and then never want to look at it ever again. So at the moment, I'm on scrambled and fried eggs, and I'll probably be back on porridge in like 3 weeks.
Yeah. So what do you do with your porridge to make it a little bit higher in protein?
Apart from the obvious of adding more protein powder, so I think that porridge can be one of those ones where, on face value, it's a healthy option and the food quality is good. Like, there's nothing wrong with oats, fruit, a little bit of yogurt, this and that, but there are certainly some tweaks that you can make to, like, just help it go from, A grade to A+.
Yeah.
So,
and also, remember, guys, it comes back to what you enjoy. Like, Ben,
it also comes back to what your goals are as well.
So Ben but with food, 100%, you need to always enjoy your food.
Yes.
Because otherwise you will not stick. You will not stick at it. We've all got different taste buds. We all like different things.
Yeah.
So Ben's porridge, I can't stomach it.
Yeah.
I could not eat it.
I like it.
It's very high in protein.
Yeah.
And I could do with a little more protein,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to eat something I hate every day.
Yeah, so it's the trade-offs.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I know that I'm not going to enjoy that, so maybe I'll make up for it with another meal in the rest of the day. So it's about picking and choosing your spots. But
Exactly.
we have a higher base of knowledge than our clients as well, so we're probably more equipped to handle that. But it's sort of like, this may be where you guys need a little bit more guidance as well, as to the levers you can pull to help just tweak your day to make it a little bit more optimal.
Yeah. Sorry, back to your porridge.
Yes.
I completely cut you
So
off.
what I have with my porridge, so in trying to make it higher protein, I also don't want to like blow the calories through the roof. So what I'll do is I personally take out some of the higher fat ingredients. So I won't have as much nut butter or coconut chips or chia seeds, like just a few things like that. I'll substitute that with protein powder. So what that does as well is it doesn't really take away from the flavor or the taste. It just takes away from the energy density of the meal. But like, the chia seeds don't taste good.
No, but the protein powder has the taste, is what has the taste.
Yeah,
and
but
it's quite
I don't mind.
Strong taste.
I don't mind the flavor of protein powder.
It's very
But
artificial. I don't like it.
if you don't like protein powder in your oats and you're like, how can I make these a little bit higher protein? Nut butter's decent, but you shouldn't rely on it. Like, it's also very high in fat. Like, peanut butter is not a great protein substitute, but it can be okay. Depends what you're having it with. But a good options like Greek yogurt as well. You can throw that in there, and that also has 10 to 15 grams of serve, which is awesome. But like, oats is actually not terrible, not terribly low in protein either, and you can get types of oats that are higher. Like, you really just need to do your research a little bit more, that's all. But across the board, like, we talk about protein a lot, but breakfast, I think especially, is definitely the meal where lots of our clients could improve their protein intake.
Yeah. So the thing with protein is it helps you feel full for longer.
Yes.
So if we're not having any, then it's really hard. We're always reaching kind of for the next meal.
Yeah, it's the most satiating of the macronutrients, for the least like amount spent in regards to calories and energy.
Yep.
I just had a question. Oh yes, and I also want to make this point. So I posted on my Instagram the other day to the hundreds of thousands of followers that I have that I was having leftover roast for breakfast.
Yes.
And people
Love
were
it.
like, "Oh, that's weird." And I'm like,
so good.
"Why?
It is a meal,
Why is that weird?"
a
So
balanced meal.
just meat and vegetables, we know, awesome.
Yep.
Right? Meat, protein, vegetables, whole foods, can't go wrong. Fantastic.
Yep.
Why can't I have that at 8 a.m.?
Well, you can, and you
Like,
did.
is that just...
It's the stigma.
It's just because it's not popular.
It's not cereal.
Well, you also never see it on the TV as like, love a little veggie, mine for breakfast, lunch and tea. Like, it's not advertised, it's not popular, but I guarantee if people made the switch away from predominantly grains and the dairy in the morning to meat and vegetables, they're like, you would feel sensational.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, the one thing, I'm surprised it's still sold in the supermarket. Like, cereal is...
Not only sold, it's a huge industry.
It's huge. Cereal should not be consumed.
And the amount of dross that they spew on
False
their labels.
advertising. Oh my goodness.
And
high protein.
we will do another episode on this in regards to like supermarkets and reading the labels. But if I see one more cereal that's like high fiber or high protein that's like 4 grams per serve, like I will spew up.
Yeah, what they can get away with is absolutely incredible.
It's outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So cereal is not an ideal breakfast option for anyone, guys.
If you take one thing away from this podcast, we do want to impress upon you that if you have health and fitness composition goals, then definitely if cereal is a regular part of your diet, you can do better.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
We are here to help you do better, so just reach on out.
Yep.
I believe next on our running sheet, so let's go through some meal ideas. We've obviously touched on oats. We've touched on eggs and bacon, avocado, all that stuff that people normally associate with breakfast. Let's try and that stuff's great, but the cooked breakfast in particular, you need to have a little bit of time, which at the moment you do. But let's just pretend that we're post-COVID, all back at work. Yay! What are some things that people could just have in their cupboard ready to roll?
Yep.
Maybe from an order of best, as in most optimal, to I'm in a rush, least optimal.
Yep. Okay, well, fruit is an absolute favourite of mine.
Yes.
Which you know. Fruit is so underrated. It is the perfect snack.
Yep.
We've got all these people worried about waste, right?
Mm-hmm.
This really gets me in life.
Yeah. She's getting fired up.
Oh, I'm ready to go. People are all like, no plastic, no plastic. Yet everything they buy to snack on and eat for lunch, what's it inside?
Yeah.
Plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Fruit is a healthy plastic free.
Yeah.
So you require no packaging.
Yeah.
How fantastic is it just to be able to grab a banana, grab a mandarin, grab an apple, stick it in your bag?
So not only a good nutritious choice, but also helping Mother Earth.
The environment, absolutely. Yeah. So there should always be, we always have fruit in our house, don't we?
Yeah.
And if we don't, the kids are like, where's the fruit?
Yes. One of our kids screams if there's no fruit.
So fruit is an absolute must for me. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Are we talking about least optimal? So I'm in a rush and I've got nothing?
Yeah, you got nothing.
Okay, so yes, I would grab an apple or two and I would grab a Blue Dinosaur protein bar.
Yep.
And I'd just be this is not what I would normally have, but at least I'm getting a good serve of protein and a little bit of fruit, and I'll try and right the ship at lunchtime.
Yeah.
And probably be hungry by then, so have a big lunch. But it's if you attack it with the idea of, all right, I've got 5 minutes, I need a little bit of protein and I need a little bit of fruit, vegetables, and it's that's what I need, and grab it, then you're sweet.
Also, everything that is in your home is in your control. So we mentioned fruit and a Blue Dinosaur bar. We would never have Up and Goes in our house. We would never have, I forget what they called it, breakfast biscuits.
These.
No,
like
the
a
biscuits,
granola bar.
Like a muesli bar type situation. So if that's your best choice, that's because that's the choices that you have available to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we just need to expand the choice.
Yeah. So try and make your best choice in your pantry a little bit more optimal.
So much of that is about education as well. And we'll touch on it again, but if you walk down the aisle at Coles and it's breakfast bar, high protein, high fiber, if you don't know, you'll just be great, I'll have that. That's a good option. Yeah. So we will do an episode on labels and what drives us nuts. But maybe when we're 4 or 5 weeks into ISO and we're feeling especially prickly, we might tackle that one. But it's just expanding your horizons. And I did do a post on this the other day, just shameless plug in my Instagram again, the hundreds and thousands. But it was about how early days when you're starting new nutrition habits, it is inconvenient. It is stressful to have to think about stuff more than you previously had. It's another thing on your plate, but it's not always like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sort of short-term pain, long-term gain, and massive long-term gain.
Yeah.
It's a giant payoff in the end if you can get it right and you've got the right advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we think our clients do.
So, and breakfast is it's so simple for us now.
Yeah.
So if breakfast for you is starting to have breakfast, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once you get past that, it does become a lot easier, and you won't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be preparing your oats the night before. You'll have your bacon and egg cups ready to go in the freezer.
Bacon and egg cups is a good one. So continuing with the meal ideas, that's our worst, we're in a rush, overslept, out the door option. The next option would be to eat on the go, and that would be having either hard boiled eggs in the fridge or egg and bacon cups. Yep. Now, egg and bacon cups are basically just a rasher of bacon wrapped around the muffin tin, crack an egg in it, whack it in the oven for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Done. You can do as many
yeah.
of these as you want.
You can add whatever you like.
Pepper,
Spinach,
salt,
vegetables,
spinach, yeah.
whatever you like.
All that stuff, maybe some oregano, some of the herbs, spices. But they are an excellent option if you're on the go.
Yeah. You can stick them in the microwave for like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Next option along the line would be like, yep, I've got 15 minutes to eat breakfast in the morning. You probably still want something prepared, and that's when I'd probably have oats.
Yep.
Yeah, this is our most common choice when we're at the gym in the morning, is we take it in dry, add hot water, stir it up, away you go.
Yep.
Whatever oats recipe you have, like if you want to send them through to us to have a look, by all means, you can do that. But that would be our next best. And then at the moment, obviously, we've got a little bit of time in the morning in the ISO quarantine age. So we do a bit more of a cook up.
Yeah, we've been having cooked brekkies.
Yeah.
Eggs, mainly.
Bacon, eggs, avo, a little bit of toast if we're feeling naughty. All that stuff. But it's really just a sliding scale of, all right, I'm going to have time, I won't have time. What am I going to prepare? And once you start to improve your meal quality, that's when you can start to, okay, I know I'm having quality ingredients. What's my activity going to be? Have I just trained? Have I done this? But we would only recommend you start to look at adjusting the quantities of, like your macronutrient intake in the morning and stuff once you've nailed your quality and once you've nailed your quality for a long time. And the facts are, like, most of you don't need to worry about how many carbs you have in the morning or anything, ever. It just won't be something that matters for the results that you want.
Yep.
It's really not important.
Yep.
All right.
Should we get on to the questions?
Questions.
All right. The first one is, when I eat breakfast, I'm hungrier for the rest of the day. I find I eat more. So we then asked, what are you eating for breakfast?
Yep.
Coffee was mentioned. However, that is a suppressant. So
appetite suppressant.
Yeah. So that generally wouldn't make you hungrier, but I think it came up a bit later. Oh, when I try to eat protein, cheese or eggs or ham.
Yeah. So it's normal for people not to be hungry in the morning, and often the feedback that we get is, oh, I had breakfast and, I was consistent at it for 2 weeks and now I'm hungry in the morning. And your body does sort of adapt to expect it. So when you are not hungry in the morning and, skip the meal, essentially, you have the appetite suppressant in coffee. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not making it up throughout the day. And I dare say you probably are, especially if your results aren't indicating that you're, losing weight, which is the predominant reason that most people skip breakfast.
Yep.
So, this is where you can sort of let your results dictate what you do a little bit. And if you've plateaued, then I think it'd be a good idea just to include breakfast, and it'll probably help you be a little bit more regimented throughout the day in regards to kind of mindless snacking and making up that energy.
Yep. So what do we think about the choices as well? So cheese, eggs or ham. So what we'd probably change that to get a little bit more protein. Like Ben mentioned before, Greek yogurt would be a good option.
Yeah, Greek yogurt, or it's something a little bit more balanced than just cheese, eggs or ham. Cheese and ham, they're okay, but they're not what we'd really call good sources of protein.
Yeah.
The deli meats, as a rule, are super high in salt and fat. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with salt, but it needs to be balanced in the body with other stuff. And if you go, if you have something unbalanced like that, it make you really sort of thirsty and hungry again. It's just not a great idea to have too much of it, I guess. Eggs is good.
Eggs is good. Add a piece of fruit with it if you're in a rush.
Yeah, 100%. And cheese, again, is more of a fat source rather than protein. It's not something that I reach for if I'm trying to have
protein.
A source of protein.
Yep. Okay, thank you for that one. And our next question, I would like to know what you think about breakfast on the days where I work out early and eat after, compared to rest days, and also compared to days where I work out in the evening. So the first point I want to make
So it's kind of like 3 questions. So
But we'll start at the start. Like we
Yeah.
know obviously who this person is.
Yeah.
So the response we would give would be different
For every person.
for every single person.
So you do a response for this person, and I'll do a response for the general person.
Okay. So this person has a solid training background.
Yep. And nutrition background.
Yep. And I was about to
Yeah,
thank
sorry.
you. Thank you,
Sorry.
Ben.
Just keep
And
me on track.
and a solid nutrition background. And they are not looking at losing weight. So I would say to this person, trust yourself. Okay? So on rest days, if you're hungry, it doesn't matter, it's a rest day.
It's normal to be hungrier on rest days
Yeah,
because
it's quite common.
exercise is an appetite suppressant. So you may not feel like you're that hungry on the days you've had a really hard training session, and almost need to make up for it on the days where, I guess, the digestion isn't being slowed down.
So that comes to my next point. So it's got more to do with this person's recovery.
Yeah.
So, sleep and food becomes really important for this person looking to progress, because they are so far through their journey. So for this person, it really is about trusting yourself. Most people that work out early don't like to eat beforehand, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Your meal afterwards should be your carb-heavy meal for the day. So timing
Your most carb-heavy meal. for the
Yeah,
day.
so timing matters a little bit for this person, given where they're at.
Yeah.
And also compared to the days where I work out in the evening. So obviously if you're working out in the evening, you'd probably have that your carb heaviest meal after that evening workout rather than having it earlier in the day like you usually would.
Yes. So we typically have the biggest meal of our day after we train.
Yeah,
And we think that, that's when your body wants nutrients to repair and recover. And that's a really good time to kind of give it what it needs to be able to effectively do that, which is protein and carbs.
Yeah. Now, can you give a response for, say, someone that came to us that was looking to lose a little bit of weight?
Yeah, so someone who's going to train in the morning, their nutrition is average. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, and we're just trying to help them be a little bit more consistent.
So it's more about habits.
Yeah, so I said it just then, we would just want them to be a little bit more consistent with the good habits. So rather than worrying about quantities and this and that,
Timing.
meal timing, all that funky stuff, we just want you to eat the best quality foods that you can, as often as you can. So we wouldn't stress too much about, carbs in the morning, this and that. It's more just, okay, like what are you having and how can we get you to have some more whole foods?
Yeah.
And then once you've built up a solid foundation of that, and your results in the gym, after the first 4, 5, 6 months have maybe slowed a little bit, as they do, like you will plateau and that's okay. Then we'd look to adjust the nutrition maybe a little bit.
Yep.
That's it. Like it's really...
People get caught up in the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But the nitty gritty doesn't count unless you've got certain essential pillars in place.
Yeah. It's basically like trying to decorate the lounge room when you haven't even built the house yet.
Yeah.
So let's just worry about the foundations and the walls, and then we can get into the interior design.
Yep. Love it. That was our only 2 questions, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cool. Obviously, everyone's a superstar at breakfast at BD Fitness, and that's what we love to hear.
Most people just wanted some meal ideas. So I hope we've given you some. We will post it in the group for you guys too.
Yeah, we also have a blog on 5 breakfast options for busy people on our website, www.bendannyfitness.com/blog, and I'll post the blog in the comments group of our members, and I might post it publicly as well.
Good idea.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to send them on through. We hope everyone's okay, staying safe. Reach out to us if you need anything, guys.
Yep.
We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.